What's going on, guys? Welcome to my YouTube channel, Musa Reacts. And yes, the deal has been warming up since yesterday, since I dropped the last piece on Cesco. It looks like we've agreed a contract with Cesco until 2030. It looks like we've agreed all the terms and the player does want to come to us. How do you guys feel about it? Are you excited? Have we got the right man in? You know my opinion on Sesko. I think he's a solid footballer. I think he has good fundamentals and that you need from a striker. And I think that it's actually a good deal. The fact that he's coming in, off the back of 13 goals, I think 5 assists. And if you look at his last 3 seasons, it's always double-digit goals, and he gets about 4 to 5 assists. And that's in a team where he's not always played up front. He's not always played up front. And I think, again, like I spoke about, when you look at Isak, when he went into Newcastle from Real Sociedad, he came into Newcastle for £60 million off the back of only scoring 5 goals in La Liga. So if you compare the two, I don't think we're overpaying for in terms of the potential that the player has. And I don't think it's the same risk that we've seen with other signings, especially Rasmus Højlund, who everyone is traumatized with. And this is why everyone's got PSD and they're afraid of the signing of Sesko. Is it because they look alike, similar stature? I don't know what it is, but I guess that's what I think is scaring most of the fan base. But I think they're totally different footballers, totally coming off different seasons to when they've been purchased to come to play at Man United. And also it seems like Rasmus Højlund will now be also leaving Man United. And as Fabrizio has said earlier on in the window, if Man United do tell Højlund that he's no longer needed at the club, a load of clubs will come in for him in Italy, and I also think that Leipzig will also try to come in for Højlund. I think we easily pick up 35 to 40 million pound, and it ends up being that we've ended up, paying half the money that for Cesco if we let Højlund out. I think it's a good foundation to work off. If you look at a 22-year-old in Cesco, 24, I believe, in Zertsky, different type of profiles, but both have good abilities on the ball. I think it's great to see that having two different type of strikers, both young, both hungry to prove themselves, and both actually good and are able to do different things in different games. So for me, I got no issue with that. I'm just excited to actually just get the strikers in. And I think, again, we've got players that, if Eric Ten Hag still got PTSD with him. If Amarin is let out of the club for whatever reason because he's not getting the results that the club think he should get, I think Amarin has been heavily backed this transfer window, especially with 3 forwards coming in, so I don't think he's going to have much excuse. And we hear that Man United have money. We hear that we actually do have some type of money to go back in the transfer window, and could we be seeing a Baleba coming into that midfield? Again, guys, I would love to see a Baleba coming in there to partner up with Kobe Mainoo long term. And I think if you add a 4-3-3 into that, you end up having Baleba deepest in the 6, you have Kobe in the 8, and you have Amad Diallo playing the furthest in the 3 and sort of a 10 with a 3 in front of that, and it's total football. And it's just it looks like a midfield that can go on to actually dominate games possession wise, quality wise, and that's what I would like to see, because as good as Amad is, and I think he's been our best player in pre-season, winning penalties, scoring, always being a threat, he's wing back. We're playing him at wing back, and that's because he's got transferable skills as a footballer that allows him to be able to play multiple positions. I don't think there is a position other than centre half that you could play Amad in and he wouldn't excel. Amad will play well in the left wing back, well at right wing back. He'll play well in the 6, well in the 8, well in the 10, well as a striker, because he's got those transferable skills where if he's not playing at the top of that position, he plays at a level that you're comfortable with, because he's just very comfortable on the ball, very comfortable receiving it, always got an eye to look for a player and to pass that and thread a through ball through. So I think Amad's a wonderful player and he needs to be in a 10. I think he's suffering, and he's going to suffer. we're not going to look at it as suffering because he's going to get those goals and assists. But Ahmad, if you listen to his interviews, he always says, I'm a number 10. He likes to come in. He likes to get involved in the play. As you see when he's playing in wing back, he comes, he tackles, he picks up the ball, he drives, he plays 1-2s. Very clever player. And I think that Ahmad is actually a player that you actually build a team around. But for whatever reason, Amrin vacates the midfield. He doesn't play through the midfield. But what I'm liking is that we're actually buying signings that are not for the manager, they're for the club. And as a manager, you come into Man United and you need to make do with the players that are there because they're quality players. When you look at Haven and you look at Euro at the back there, and then you look at Mazraoui, you look at Dorgu, then you look at the midfield again. I said if we can get a Beleba, then you're talking about Beleba, Kobe Mainu, Ahmad, Sekou Kone. You're looking at real talented footballers in that middle of the pot. Then you look at a forward lineup of Mbumo, Cunha, Cesco, Zertsky, and Man United start to look totally different. And I think it's exciting for us to see. We're actually buying players to actually fulfill the requirements of the squad. Again, we've heard news that United have, or Chelsea I should say, are continuing their chase of Garnacho. I think that's another player that if we let out the squad, bring some money in, that allows us to go in for that midfielder. I hear that also Harry Maguire, there's inquiries been made about Harry Maguire, but Man United are not really too interested in letting Harry Maguire go. For me, Harry Maguire is definitely somebody, if we can get some money back on after spending £90 million on, I would. It seems like he's going to play out his career at Man United as just being a defender that comes in, steps in whenever he's needed. And also I think someone that when players come into the club, you've got someone who's been there for a very long time, well respected, a good character around the dressing room that's just going to kind of help players settle in. And I think he kind of has that type of DNA that Man United historically like, as you know how the club is. And I feel like they don't want to vacate, or they don't want to get rid of every single player that's been at Man United for a long period of time, because then what happens is when players come into the club and to the squad, you're kind of missing that identity of what it means to play for Man United and what it means to be at Old Trafford. So I think they're trying to keep on to Harry Maguire for that reason. But for me, to be honest, with the amount of money that we spent on Harry Maguire, it would be nice if we did actually get some money back in for him. Excited for the front three. I don't know what you guys think in terms of Cunha, Zertsky, and Mbumo, or again Cunha, Mbumo, and Sesko. I'm gonna want to see how the season plays out, because everybody knows Arsenal was chasing Sesko for about a year and a half to 2 years now, and they've ended up going for Gyökeres, a player that was heavily linked to Man United and a player that we actually wanted over Sesko. So that the fact that Arsenal have got Gyökeres and we've got the player Sesko, who they chased for the best part of 2 seasons, I guess everybody's going to want to see how that plays out, who's going to have the better summer, who's going to have the better season. We're going to see how that plays out. Again, I think Cesco is going to do well. There's a lot of new strikers in the league. We're talking about Ekitike, we're talking about Gyökeres, we're talking about Cesco, we're talking about Delap going to Chelsea. I think it's going to be a year where people look at to see what the strikers do. There's still that big move that's possible for Isak to end up at Liverpool, but now we're getting Cesco. How does that impact Newcastle? Newcastle have had a horrid transfer window trying to get players in, and players are just choosing other teams and other clubs. So I don't know how they're going to deal with that. But for me, again, as much as I'm excited and happy to have a new front three, I think letting Sancho go, Anthony go, Garnacho and Rashford, that's 4 forwards, and we've brought in 3. So I think if we can just, and I think we needed to bring in those forwards, but I think if we could just go and get that solid player in the middle of the park, maybe a player that we haven't been looking at but fits the profile of what we need. He needs to fit the profile, and if the player fits that profile, then I don't think Man United fans will have too much to argue about. For me, I'm saying, can we test the resolve of Chelsea with Lavia. I know a lot of guys think it's a long shot and it's not something that can happen, but yet again, he's not a player that's guaranteed a starting lineup in the starting 11, as we know with the amount of players Chelsea have got in. He's a player that's very talented, just as good as Lavia, and I think if we can do some type of swap deal with Lavia coming to United and Garnacho going over there, even if we got to pay 25 million on top, 30 million, I think it will be a great purchase for us. And I think we need to be shrewd in the market. We haven't actually done a deal like that, and I think we've got a deal like that in us. Let me know what you think, guys, in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm going to start going live, guys. I've got a special show lined up that we're going to be doing once a week with a lot of the Mandem that we normally see on the Mandem show. I want you guys to just stay posted, keep supporting. See you at the next one. I'm out.